I'm gonna prove how dangerous I am, because trust me, in the mindset I'm in, I'm really, really dangerous. This man is not, it's not gonna be pretty what's gonna happen to this man in here.
This is the story of a man who conquered the world and then lost himself. Conor McGregor. The name once echoed through arenas like thunder. The first UFC fighter to hold 2 championship belts at the same time. He didn't just fight, he revolutionized mixed martial arts with charisma that could sell out stadiums, trash talk that became legend, and knockout power that left opponents unconscious before they hit the canvas. But this isn't just a story about glory. It's about the transition from unstoppable champion to fallen icon.
I come from a place, Dublin 12. It is a hard-working town, a small little suburb. It has its good and it has plenty of bad, but I always like to focus on the good because the good shines through.
From Dublin's welfare lines to global superstardom. A Hollywood story, except the fall, that was real. And it was brutal. Crumlin, a working-class suburb of Dublin where dreams don't come easy. This is where Conor McGregor was born, where he was raised. As a kid, he faced bullying, the kind that breaks some people. But at 12 years old, he walked into a boxing gym and found something. By 16, he discovered mixed martial arts at Straight Blast Gym, and everything changed. But life wasn't glamorous, not yet. He worked as a plumber's apprentice, collecting welfare checks worth just 188 euros a week. His meals? Noodles and rice, day after day. But while his body survived on scraps, his mind was already visualizing championships. This was mental conditioning before anyone knew his name. This was the hunger that would one day change everything. 2008. Conor McGregor steps into a cage as a professional for the first time with Cage Warriors FC. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the most experienced. But he had precision striking that looked like art and psychological warfare that felt like witchcraft. By 2012, he did something that had never been done before in European MMA history. He captured 2 titles on the same night, featherweight and lightweight. 2 divisions, 1 warrior. And across the Atlantic, UFC President Dana White was watching. He saw something special, something dangerous. Something that could change the entire sport. 2013. The UFC signs Conor McGregor. His debut against Marcus Brimage. 67 seconds. That's all it took. 1 round. 1 knockout. The arena erupted. This wasn't just a fighter. This was a phenomenon. He combined knockout power with movie star charisma and confidence that bordered on prophecy. He started predicting fight outcomes with eerie accuracy, earning the nickname Mystic Mac. UFC 178, 2014. Dustin Poirier goes down. UFC 189, 2015. Chad Mendes falls, and McGregor claims the interim title. Every fight felt like destiny. Every victory felt inevitable. The world was watching, and Conor McGregor was just getting started. December 2015, UFC 194, the fight the world had been waiting for. Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo, the undefeated featherweight king. The tension was suffocating. The trash talk was legendary. And then the bell rang. 13 seconds. That's all it took. 1 punch. Aldo crumbled. The fastest title win in UFC history. 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. The Octagon wasn't just a fighting cage anymore. It was a throne. And Conor McGregor had just claimed it. He wasn't just a champion. He was a global superstar, a cultural force. The rise was complete, or so it seemed. But McGregor understood something most fighters never do. This wasn't just about punches and submissions. This was about theater, about spectacle. His press conferences became entertainment in themselves. The suits, the sound bites. The swagger. He redefined sports promotion through confidence and storytelling that turned fights into events worth billions. He wasn't selling violence, he was selling belief. Belief in himself. Belief in the impossible. And the world bought it. Every word, every prediction, every strut into the octagon. Conor McGregor had turned fighting into an art form and himself into the masterpiece. But then, UFC 196, March 2016. Conor McGregor steps into the cage against Nate Diaz. A last-minute replacement at welterweight, and for the first time in the UFC, he loses. Submission. 2nd round. The invincibility shattered. But here's the thing. His star power didn't dim. If anything, it grew brighter. The rematch at UFC 202 became the most anticipated fight of the year. McGregor trained like a man possessed, and this time, he won by decision. The pay-per-view numbers? 1.6 million buys, a record. Even in defeat, Conor McGregor was the biggest name in combat sports. November 2016, Madison Square Garden, the most iconic arena in the world. UFC 205, Conor McGregor versus Eddie Alvarez for the lightweight championship, but McGregor already held the featherweight belt. History was watching. The fight? It wasn't even close. McGregor dominated from the opening bell. 2nd round TKO. And just like that, he became the first fighter ever to hold 2 UFC titles simultaneously. The gate records shattered, the attendance records broken. Forbes would soon list him among the highest-paid athletes on the planet. The kid from Crumlin who survived on welfare and noodles was now at the absolute pinnacle of the combat sports world. But peaks, they're dangerous places, because the only way from the top is down. Success changes people, sometimes slowly, sometimes all at once. For Conor McGregor, the hunger that drove him from Dublin to global domination began to fade. The discipline that once defined him started to slip. The lavish lifestyle, the yachts, the mansions, the watches worth more than houses. It all began replacing the relentless focus that made him great. Fame and wealth have a price. And that price, it's often the very thing that brought you the fame and wealth in the first place. The warrior was becoming a celebrity, and celebrities don't have to suffer. They don't have to sacrifice. They don't have to stay hungry. But fighters do.
We're all right now that I like you, but I've got to be real. When his legacy is destroyed in 6 weeks' time, it's gonna fall on your shoulders.
August 2017, the fight that broke the internet before it even happened. Conor McGregor, an MMA fighter with 0 professional boxing matches, stepping into the ring with Floyd Mayweather Jr., one of the greatest boxers of all time. The audacity alone was intoxicating. 4.3 million pay-per-view buys, $600 million in total revenue. McGregor earned $130 million, and he lost. 10th round TKO, but did it matter? Financially, this was his peak, the summit of Mount Everest. But here's the brutal truth about summits. You can't stay there. And the descent? It's always faster than the climb. This was the beginning of the end for the competitive fighter inside Conor McGregor. 2018, proper number 12 whiskey launches. McGregor wasn't just selling a product, he was selling himself bottled. By 2021, the brand sold for $600 million. $600 million. He wasn't a fighter anymore. Not really. He was a global celebrity, a businessman, a brand. And somewhere in the transition from warrior to mogul, something got lost. The skills that once looked supernatural began to deteriorate. The discipline that once seemed unbreakable started to fracture. The fire that once burned white hot began to flicker. Because you can't serve 2 masters. You can't train like a champion while living like a king. October 2018, UFC 229, Las Vegas. Conor McGregor returns to the octagon after 2 years away, and his opponent is Khabib Nurmagomedov, the undefeated Russian, with a ground game like a python and a grudge that ran deep. The build-up was venomous, personal, ugly. The fight? McGregor was outclassed. Submission in round 4. But the chaos didn't end there. A post-fight brawl erupted. Teammates jumping into the cage, punches thrown in the crowd. The spectacle had turned into a disgrace. McGregor was fined $500,000 and suspended for 9 months. The loss was bad, but the aftermath? That damaged something deeper than just his record. Retirement. He announced it once, twice, 3 times. Each time the world rolled its eyes. 2020, he returns. Defeats Donald Cowboy Cerrone in 40 seconds. The old magic seemed to flicker back to life. But then came 2021, the trilogy fight with Dustin Poirier. First fight, loss by knockout. Second fight, the horror. A broken leg, a compound fracture of the tibia and fibula so brutal, the world winced watching the replay. 2 consecutive losses to the same opponent. The decline wasn't subtle anymore. The speed was gone, the sharpness dulled, the preparation lacking. The warrior who once moved like water now looked human, mortal. Breakable, April 2018. Brooklyn, New York, UFC Media Day. And then, chaos. Conor McGregor storms the Barclays Center with a group of men. They attack a bus carrying fighters. Windows shattered. Fighters injured. Michael Chiesa suffers lacerations. Ray Borg gets glass in his eyes. Fights are canceled. The footage goes viral. McGregor is arrested. He pleads guilty to disorderly conduct. This wasn't competition. This wasn't trash talk. This was violence outside the rules, outside the sport. And for the first time, people started asking, who is Conor McGregor, really? The hero image began to crack. What lay beneath wasn't pretty. The incidents started piling up like wreckage. 2019, punches an elderly man in a Dublin pub over a whiskey. His whiskey. The man refused to drink, and McGregor's fist answered. That same year, Miami, he attacks a fan, smashes their phone on the ground, walks away with the pieces. Multiple driving offenses, license suspensions. 2022, arrested for dangerous driving in Dublin. 2024, convicted. Each incident alone might be excusable. A bad day, a moment of weakness. But together, they formed a pattern. A portrait of a man who had forgotten what it meant to be disciplined, to be controlled, to be accountable. 2018, Dublin. Nikita Hand accuses Conor McGregor of sexual assault at a hotel. No criminal charges are filed. But in 2024, the civil lawsuit goes to trial. The jury deliberates, and they find him liable. He's ordered to pay €248,603 in damages. McGregor issues a public apology, acknowledging infidelity but denying assault. But the damage was done. Sponsors cut ties. Brands distanced themselves. The hero of Ireland became a pariah in his own country. Murals painted in his honor began to disappear. The fall from grace wasn't just professional anymore. It was personal. It was total. But the allegations didn't stop. 2019, 2 additional investigations. No charges filed. 2023, another civil lawsuit. This time from a woman in Miami, claiming assault in a bathroom. 2025, rapper Azealia Banks accuses him of sending explicit messages. Every new headline, another crack in the foundation. And it wasn't just personal scandals. 2024, Barstool Sports sues McGregor over a contract breach involving his stout beer brand. The man who once seemed untouchable was now drowning in legal battles, accusations, and settlements. The empire was crumbling from every direction. Then he tried politics. After riots in Dublin during 2023, McGregor made anti-immigrant statements that sparked outrage. He doubled down, claiming to speak for Ireland. 2025, he announces his intention to run for president of Ireland. The reaction? Mockery, criticism, backlash so fierce he withdrew within weeks. The man who once commanded arenas with his words couldn't survive the scrutiny of the political stage. His brand of confidence played well in combat sports, but in politics, it revealed something else. Recklessness, a lack of preparation, the same qualities that were now defining his entire life outside the octagon. 2023, NBA Finals, Miami Heat versus Denver Nuggets. Conor McGregor is there courtside, and during a promotional stunt, he punches the Miami Heat mascot on live television. The mascot is sent to the hospital, and people stopped laughing because it wasn't funny anymore. None of it was. The perception shifted. Wealth had insulated him from accountability. The rules didn't seem to apply. Each incident, each outburst, each moment of violence was met with settlements and statements, but never real consequences. His brand value plummeted. Endorsements evaporated. The once beloved fighter was now seen as reckless, dangerous, and out of control. The body always tells the truth. 2013, ACL and MCL tear. An early warning. 2021, the leg break against Poirier. A compound fracture so severe they had to implant a titanium rod. 2024, while filming Roadhouse, he breaks his toe. Another delay. Another setback. His weight ballooned from 155 pounds to 185. The explosiveness that once made him a nightmare to fight, the speed that earned him 13-second knockouts, a memory. Father Time is undefeated, and Conor McGregor was learning that the hard way. Every injury, every pound, every year away from the cage made the comeback story more unlikely, more desperate, more impossible. 2024, Conor McGregor misses 3 anti-doping whereabouts tests. 3, the kind of violation that ends careers. The UFC anti-doping program issues an 18-month suspension, retroactive to September 2024. He's eligible to return in March 2026, but the damage to his credibility? That's permanent. The whispers started. Was he avoiding tests for a reason? Had the body that once seemed superhuman needed chemical assistance to keep up? The questions lingered like smoke. And even if innocent, the suspension added one more stain to a legacy that was already drowning in controversy. The civil assault verdict was the final blow, the one that made the damage irreparable. Brands didn't just distance themselves, they erased him. Proper Number 12 removed his imagery from marketing. IO Interactive deleted his character from the Hitman video game series. Murals that once celebrated him were painted over. A statue erected in his honor was taken down. Products were boycotted. The man who was once a national hero, a symbol of Irish pride and working-class triumph, became a public disgrace. A cautionary tale. Ireland didn't just turn on him, it rejected him entirely. The love that once felt unconditional was replaced by shame and disappointment. Behind the headlines, there was a family. His partner, Dee Devlin, had been there from the beginning, from the welfare checks to the private jets. They have 4 children together. But in 2024, amid the civil trial, McGregor publicly acknowledged infidelity. The relationship, once held up as a symbol of loyalty and love, was now strained under the weight of scandal. The man who once inspired millions with his rags to riches story had become someone else entirely. The legacy that could have been about perseverance and triumph was now overshadowed by allegations, violence, and broken trust. The accusations followed him like shadows. Alcohol abuse, drug abuse. His physical appearance fluctuated wildly between fighting weights and the off-season, sparking speculation and concern. The image became more important than the performance, the lifestyle more attractive than the discipline. And the public noticed. The man who once preached visualization and mental toughness now seemed consumed by excess, by indulgence, by the very things he once claimed to control. Whether the accusations were true or exaggerated didn't matter anymore. The perception had taken root. And in the court of public opinion, perception is reality. March 2026. That's when his suspension ends. Rumors of a comeback fight in June, possibly at a White House UFC event with Michael Chandler or Ilya Topuria. The reality? It's hard to believe. He'll be 37 years old, 4 years since his last real fight. Chronic injuries, weight issues, unrealistic financial demands. The man who once fought for survival now fights for legacy and paychecks that no promoter wants to pay. The chances of reclaiming his former greatness? Nearly zero. The warrior who once seemed unstoppable is now a question mark. A maybe, a what if. And deep down, even he must know the magic is gone. Once, There was a hungry, fearless warrior from Dublin who conquered the world through sheer will and unshakable belief. He climbed from welfare lines to championship belts, from noodles and rice to private jets and whiskey empires. But somewhere along the way, the hunger faded. Discipline broke. The warrior became a celebrity. The champion became a cautionary tale. From rags to riches to ruin, the octagon may still be waiting. Michael Chandler might still be calling his name. But the question isn't about when Conor McGregor will return. The question is, can the Notorious ever truly come back? Or is this the end of an era that burned too bright, too fast, and left nothing but ash? Only time will tell. But history has already made its judgment.